G'day, I'm Patrick. Welcome to the workshop. Today I need to cut a large circle. To be more precise, I need to make an old circle more round than it is now. I have this large round dining table top, which a client is getting me to restore. And part of that restoration meant that I had to cut it apart and stick it back together again to fix some of the joins, which means it's no longer perfectly round, and I wish it to be perfectly round. So I'm going to create a jig that will allow me to use my trimmer router to make this thing perfectly round again. This is a really simple jig that you can make yourself, and you can make it any size you want. It's very simple, and you too can make something perfectly round. This is my current circle jig. This is one of the few jigs that I have made to last because it's so easy to use it for different sizes. The way it's constructed is this ring here fits the base of my trim router, and the router bit goes through the hole. And then there is a little pin, little nail, that can go anywhere along here and act as the center point for my circle. You can see a couple of little pre-drilled holes that I've used over the past. The largest that this thing can do is about a 1240 millimeter circle, and I need about 1400 for this table, so I just need to make a slightly larger one. This larger one might not be quite as well constructed because it's probably only going to be used this once. I don't very often need to cut circles that large, but it's going to be a similar situation. I've made this just a friction fit, so this router just presses in there and stays there, and then you can see that it holds on pretty well. I'm not holding that base. And that's just about cutting out that recess well. And then the router bit just emerges through the bottom. Now the material that I have to build the next one, just as usual, whatever I have floating around, it's a slippery piece of birch plywood with like a film face, a white film face, which is great. It'll turn nice and easily on the work. I just need to figure out a way to get this base to attach. I generally don't screw them on. I think there are simpler ways to do it. And then a tiny bit of shaping, and then I'll show you how to use it. The simplest way that I can think of to get this router bit to stick onto this jig is essentially what I've done here. I use a secondary piece of plywood, cut a circle in it and stuck it on. I'm going to more or less do that. I've got a offcut of this plywood. I'm going to draw the base on here. I'm going to cut that out with a jigsaw, smooth it out with a bobbin sander, and then stick that bit on. As long as the fit is a little bit tight, but I can still take it on and off pretty easily, that's all it needs to be. We can then plunge a router bit down, and then we just measure the distance from the nail to the edge of the router bit. We can use any size router bit that you want, really, as long as you've got space for it. That's my little circle. You can see the split where the bandsaw went in. I'm actually going to kind of use it like a little compression ring, so I'll fix it on the back here with just the pin gun and leave the front half a little bit free, and then we can just use a little soft clamp on there to grip the base of the trimming router. It's kind of not strictly necessary. If I find the right tension, I might just pin that side in too. That's what I've done previously. But I mean, this is very simple to make. It doesn't need to be dead accurate. I haven't followed a template for this. I've just traced it out, cut it with the bandsaw, and then sanded it. You could even just do a couple of little wooden blocks if you wanted to pin something together really quickly. I've made this length about, I think it's 1.1 meters. So this will hang up on the wall and it'll get used for something down the track. It doesn't take up much space. I did pin the backside. I don't think I need to have some sort of system where I clamp this down. I left a space for that little screw thing at the back because if I don't have to take it off, that's great. It means I can use this jig more quickly. I'm going to cut this whole length into a very slight taper, round off the edges so that I can use it more ergonomically. And then I'll draw a center line, put some pinholes, and we need to drill out a hole there so the router bit can pass through, and then we can cut this big circle. Okay, so the jig is basically made, and I have my big round thing that I need to make rounder. It is about 1400, and I only need to take a mil off the whole thing because when I joined it back together, there was some slight discrepancies. However, sometimes when you're going to use a circle jig like this, you don't want to punch a pin into the workpiece. Now that could be because you don't have access to the underside, or both sides are going to be visible. So one way you can get around this is you make a little base plate. Now this is just a little piece of plywood. Actually, this is a piece of solid timber, but you can use a piece of MDF or whatever. Put a cross on it, put your nail in there, and then rather than pushing your nail down through the jig into the center of the work, you can stick this to the work using some blue tape and super glue, and then you can place the jig on the nail. So that means at the end of your cut, you have no hole punched in your tabletop or whatever it may be. Now, this technique works equally well for some small thing, for a much smaller version of this jig. You could make this jig exactly the same and only 300 millimeters long, and it would be super useful. I just happen to need a big one. The other reason I can't punch a nail into the underside of this table is because this table is already in two halves. And if I push this nail in there, it's just going to separate the halves. I've put some tape on this underneath to hold it together, and that will be enough for the routing, but I can't use the pin down, so I have to use the pin up. Okay, with our center pin in place, we just need to locate the hole on the jig itself. I know the distance I need to go from the edge of the blade to the pin, so I'm just going to measure that out, draw it on there, and drill a tiny hole. So now I'm ready to actually cut this thing. Even though I'm only cutting off a mil or two the whole way around, I'm not going to try and cut a full depth pass the whole way around. It's just less likely to be accurate. There's some inherent flex in a jig like this. What I'm going to do is cut about 4 millimeters deep by 1 or 2 millimeters in, whatever the circle ends up being. And then I'm going to use that 4 millimeter rebate to run a bearing around. After I've cut that 4 mil rebate, I'll use a pattern following bit and just finish it all off. That's more likely to be accurate. Now, in terms of actually plunging the router bit down that 4 mil, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can, in theory, plunge with one of these trimmer routers because you can kind of loosen off the gate here and then plunge it while it's running and then close off the gate. But there's actually a fair bit of wobble in there and it's not super accurate. You can end up with a little divot in the side of a circle. What I'm going to do instead is preset the depth that I want, lock off the gate, and then I'll actually start with this jig on the nail, in position, raised ever so slightly, and then just lower the jig down into position. Because I'm only needing the router bit to go down about 4 mil, that movement is quite small and controlled and allows me to get a really nice controlled entry while the router is spinning. Okay, so my circular table is now back to being perfectly circular. I know I said I was going to use a pattern following bit to finish it off, but since the router was already in the jig, I just dropped that router bit in another 2 passes and just spun around another 2 times. It didn't feel like there was a strong advantage to changing bits over and doing it with a pattern following bit. It worked really well. I have a really clean finish. I was able to just sand it off and now it's ready for the rest of the construction. It's pretty common to get some slight burning depending on the timber with most router tasks. If they're not perfectly sharp or if you're moving generally a little bit too slow or the chips can't eject effectively, but that'll just sand right out. So now I have 2 really simple circle jigs for my trimmer router. They're both quite large. I should probably make a small one as well, but I find that these will do most of the things that I need most of the time. Really simple jig to use, really simple jig to make, and you can get an accurate circle every time. I think with the addition of this little pin plate, it means that you don't have to worry about punching a hole in your work, and it makes it a very effective and professional jig. One more note about what router bit to use when using this jig. You can use this jig with really any straight bit. Even though the distance from the edge of the bit will change to the position of the pin, I generally reset the pin for every job. I'm not routinely cutting out circles that are exactly the same size. The straight bit does not need to have a bearing on it. If it does have a bearing, you need to make sure that the bearing is not engaging with the work, so it's not exposed. But really, there's no great advantage to using a giant router bit. I like to use about a 1/2 inch or a 12mm straight bit. I think that does a really good job. You could use a compression bit, you could use a spiral bit, but as I am plunging in 4mm at a time, just a general straight bit works perfectly. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for some other thing that's happening in my workshop at the time. Thanks a lot.